So today we're looking into the subject of differentiation, and in this case you have this equation: y is equals to 4x squared, and I think you have x and you have plus 3, and of course you have to find the y, the x. And the way you go about this is a pretty simple thing. You're going to differentiate y with respect to x, and then of course if you find the y, the x is going to be 2 times 4, which is 8, and then put x and then subtract 1 from 2 from the power, that's 1. Again, remember that it's going to be the same as xx, it's x, okay? And if you differentiate x, definitely it's definitely going to be 1. And of course if you differentiate a constant, it's definitely going to give you 0. So the answer for differentiating this is going to be 8x minus 1. Y is equals to x cubed plus 5x squared, and of course you have plus 2x, and of course just have plus 3. Now if you differentiate this with respect to x, y with respect to x, this is going to give you the y, the x, and of course if you differentiate this 3 will come down here, x, and then subtract 3 from the power, or 1 from the power, that's definitely going to be 2. And of course you do the same, 2 and 5 is 10, and x, and then subtract 1 from the power, that's 1, okay? And of course if you differentiate 2x, definitely that's going to be 2. Now again, how you got 2 is pretty simple, because you know this is 1, and if you minus 1 from the power, 1 is 0, and anything raised to plus 0 is definitely 1, okay? And 1 times 2 is 2, so that's why we figure out that the answer is going to be 2, okay? And of course 8, okay? You have y equals 8 minus 2 over x. Now the way this is right now, you just can't differentiate this just by by trying to differentiate. You have to write it in a way that can be differentiated. And what you're going to do here, you're going to write this again: y is equal to 8 minus and 2x times minus 1. Alright, so this is the same as this, okay? And from here, I think this is what you can now differentiate. So now you do the y and the x. Now if you differentiate 8, a constant, that's going to be 0. So of course I don't have to write that. And then if I differentiate this one with respect to x, the minus 1 will multiply minus 2, that's going to be plus 2, and then you put your x, and then you're going to subtract 1 from the power, which is going to be minus 2. Now this is a good answer, but again, if you want to simplify this, it's up to you. It's going to be the same thing as 2 over s squared, okay? So this entirely to you how you want to leave your answer. You could just leave it here, or you could possibly just write it in a much simplified form, okay? Here you have y is equals to 2x to the power 4 plus 3s squared plus 9. Now what we want to do here is to differentiate with respect to y and x, okay? And again, this is a pretty simple thing. Alright, so this is going to be the same thing as the y dx. And of course if you differentiate this is 4 times 2, that's 8x, and subtract 1 from the power, which is 3. And next, if you differentiate this, 2 and 3 is 6, and subtract 1 from the power, 2 minus 1 is 1. Of course you can write it 1 like this, but I think it's just okay as leaving it as 6x. And of course if you differentiate a number, a whole number, that number, well, it's definitely going to be 0, okay? So this is why we have to leave it as 8s cubed plus 6x. You have this question: y is equals to 3x2, and of course you add a number or minus a number, minus 4, and of course you divide that number by another power, which is like 6x to the power, okay? And of course what you do to differentiate this, I think first of all you have to put in a way that can be differentiated. So you just know that this is the same thing as 3s squared divided by x minus 4 over x. And of course if you cancel out, this is going to be just 3x, and here definitely going to be 4x is upon minus 1. Alright, so I think from here this is something that you can differentiate quite easily now from here. So if you do the y dx for this, this is going to give you 3, and of course if you differentiate this, minus 1 times minus 4, that's plus 4x, and of course you subtract 1 from the power, that's minus 2. And of course if you want to simplify your result, which is entirely yours to make, okay, so what I think you possibly can do here is you can just leave the answer as dy dx, which is going to be sitting as 3 plus 4 over x to the power 2. Now this is a much more simplified way, okay, so again it depends on how you want to leave your results. Okay, good. And the last one I think we will be looking at now is this one here. Say you have y is equals to 6x to the power half, and here you got again x to the power minus half. Now again, the way you work out this is pretty the same way you work out every other question. Okay, so you might just go straight as the y dx will be the half multiply 6, that's going to give you 3x, and you subtract 1 from this, half minus 1, and that will be minus half, and here you have minus. Okay, this is minus because minus half times minus 1 is definitely positive, okay, result. So you're going to go x, and of course you subtract 1 from the power, okay, and this definitely going to give you minus 3 over 2. Now you might want to simplify. This is absolutely correct, okay, but if you want to simplify, okay, that's going to be the same thing as dy dx, which will be the same thing as 3 over x half, but that will be sitting as square root, okay, to here, and then of course this is going to be the same thing as 1 over x 3 over 2 here, but then that's going to be the square root, okay, and raise it to the power of 3. Now this is entirely up to you on how you want to do it, but the basics are still the basics, okay. All right.